YouTube tells me we are live. Thank you for waiting. A couple minutes late starting. Sometimes I think this is easier when I do it all the time. When I was doing my piano in PJs, like 3 mornings a week, it was just a little more routine, and it's been 2 weeks. But the good news is I don't have COVID, not coughing, I don't need throat lozenges, have my full voice. So welcome to this wonderful, very warm here Sunday evening. Hopefully it's a nice summer day where you are. Hi, Johnny, and hi, Greg. So nice to see you. And I am. So here's the story behind this. So I wasn't planning on going live at all again in August because I'm recording so much behind the scenes. I'm re-recording the Piano Ninja Tricks. I'm recording playlists for you for YouTube. If you have a dog, I'm recording playlists for your dog. I'm actually, after this, I'm recording Chopin for dogs off camera. I mean, not live, but that will be available both on streaming apps in about 6 weeks and then on YouTube Live pretty soon. So I just wanted to get somewhat content. I needed to get kind of off camera and not worry about how I look when I perform. So here I am with left hand music, because a week ago I did this program locally and I thought, well, you know what? I already have the program. Why don't I just repeat it? I love this program. This is one of the few times. Actually, I'm going to take that back. I was going to say almost all my concerts these days are for one and two hands. This is all left hand except for one piece that's for 8 fingers, and I'll tell you why and when we get to it. So this is just near and dear to my heart because in 2017 I fell and injured my right hand so severely that I needed 4 surgeries over 3 years to heal 7 fractures, 6 which were in my 4th finger, ring finger, right hand, and 1 on the side. And I was told I would never play piano again because I had so many medical complications. But as you know, if you've heard my all Chopin concert 2 weeks ago, that was all 2 hands. I am playing big, demanding, challenging music for 2 hands as well as 1 hand. But this repertoire has stayed near and dear to my heart because it's music that I learned during that time that got me back to making music, that got me back to the place of realizing that it doesn't matter how many fingers are on the keys, I make music with my heart. And it was 3 to 4 years of recovery, but probably about 6 months of really deep emotional work to get to the point where I really could get back to the piano and play and be content of where I was instead of always wanting something, my hand back, wanting something to be that it wasn't. So I am so thrilled to be sharing this music with you. So the first piece is the Brahms arrangement of the Bach chaconne. So you may have heard the Bach chaconne. It's a beautiful solo violin work. And supposedly for violin, it's one of the most demanding solo violin works. And there have been many arrangements of this piece. It's such a gorgeous melody. There's a famous Busoni arrangement for 2 hands. But Brahms arranged this for Clara Schumann when she short-term had tendonitis in her right hand. And she was, in addition to being Robert Schumann's wife and a wonderful composer, she was a very esteemed concert pianist of the day and was traveling a lot performing. So he wrote this for her so she could continue her performances. And I'm sorry Clara had tendonitis, but I am kind of glad she did, and it was short term, because this piece is a gem. It's just magical. I can't even describe it. It's like every time, if I want to feel grounded in my playing, like this is what I play. It's just so majestic and so beautiful. And this is what I'm doing is I'm starting with this. It's the longest work in the program, about 11 minutes. Everything else is short. But I'm also want to point out that this, I think this is, it's the earliest piece in the program. And what I'm finding is that generally speaking, the earlier the music is written for left hand only, the more it uses middle register and bass. Later on, you're going to see my left hand all the way up here. But in this, it's just middle, period, and bass. And take this in. It starts simply and it gets more and more dramatic, more and more virtuosic. Ends just, there are some moments that are just, every time I play this, they're just so beautiful. And so really enjoy This is, I'm going to point out some of the challenges in left to music that don't appear so much in this piece, but the most challenging thing about this piece for me is it requires a really large hand, which fortunately I have. But if you know me, you know that my hand health is my number one priority. If you're a pianist, I encourage you for that to be a priority. By the way, I completely forgot. Got a little off track, so I'm going to sidetrack for a second. If you're a pianist, put P in the comments. If you're a music lover who doesn't play an instrument, put M in the comments. And if you play another instrument, maybe you play violin, put that in the comments. I'd love to know. I'd love to know what your music background is a little bit. And so the thing about this piece that's so challenging is it takes such. I assume Claire Schumann had a large hand because this is really large. It requires a large hand, and so much so that there is a big middle section of this piece that I actually don't ever practice until it gets the day before a performance. I just play through the chord structure in solid chords without having to strain my hand and reach. Because the more strain you put on your hand to constantly reach, the more tension and the more challenges you get physically. So I try and, as much as possible, don't extend my hand, and you have to a lot in this piece. I've had many Juilliard colleagues reach out to me and said, "Hey, I'm so envious you can play that piece. I tried it and my hand wasn't large enough." So great work. Enjoy. It's the longest work on the program, and look forward to sharing this with you. And Johnny says, it could be Joni. I've never, maybe put that out. Tell me, because I know you're here and I never quite know. So you're just retired from 40 years of teaching, 33 years around the chair. Let us know where you were in the chair. Thank you. Johnny, it sounds like Olive is your dog, and you're in Washington. Fantastic. Um, that was the most demanding work on my hand. There's more demanding on finger work coming up, and more way up trouble up here. But that's the longest piece on the program. So if you just joined us, put a P in the comment if you play piano. If you don't play piano, but you just love classical music, put an M. And if you're playing another instrument, let us know what that is. So moving on to Skriabin. By the way, the program, let me just highlight that for a second. The program is right at the top in the comments. Give me 1 second. So here is the program. The next thing is the Skriabin Opus 9 Prelude and Nocturne, Opus 9 number 1 and 2 for left hand only. The prelude is so sublime and so beautiful. It's very simple, but here's what you want to listen for. And it's easier than it sounds, because when I started learning this, I had never played anything with 3 voices in one hand. So when I say voices, think soprano, alto, tenor, bass. So 3 of those voices in one hand. So that means my thumb, which very frequently happens in left-hand music, my thumb is playing the melody, which often wants to sound very legato. We often, as pianists, play the melody with the outer fingers of the right hand. It's much easier to play legato. So I'm always trying to match sounds when I can't physically connect. Legato means really connecting from one note to the next. So when I can't physically connect, I'm matching the sounds with voicing. And then the melody is up here with my thumb. Normally, if I did this with ideal fingering, it would be that, but I'm playing these other notes, so I have to do it with all thumb. The bass. And then the hardest thing probably is keeping this inner voice just very background and very consistent and very steady. Then going on to the nocturne, it gets much more complex. The nocturne is so beautiful, and you'll hear it goes all the way up to here. Now that my right hand is able to play, I'm so tempted. This really challenging, you'll hear when it gets way up here, this really challenging part to add my right hand, but I'm not going to do that today. So it's all over the keyboard, and it's nocturne means nocturnal, just gorgeous melody that keeps developing and developing. It's so beautiful. From what my knowledge of this and reading about it, Skriabin wrote this when he personally had some short-term hand problems with his right hand, so he wrote this for his left hand. So enjoy the Skriabin Prelude and Nocturne, early opus 9 of this beautiful Russian composer. Isn't that just such a gorgeous nocturne? Thank you for the silent applause. This is how I lost my train of thought. So sorry. Um, Give me 1 second. I'm looking at the program to so I remember. Okay, the nocturne is next. So 2 nocturnes in a row. Give me 1 second. Okay, so this next nocturne was written for me by a fabulous present-day young composer, Zach Goluboff Davis in the Northeast. And thank you, Cactus. Thank you. This nocturne was written for me when he may have started writing this. It was very shortly after my injury in my right hand. Might have still been a cast, I don't remember, but I wasn't using it at all. And so Zach Goluboff Davis is a wonderful composer, but I actually met him in the dog world, which I know some of you have dogs. So this girl over here, you'll see in a second. Gina is was my agility dog. She's now retired. So she was a 2-time dog agility champion. And I met Zach on the agility field. He's also an agility judge. And I happened to be wearing my Juilliard t-shirt. So obviously I'm a musician, and we got talking, and he's so humble that he told me he's a composer, but he didn't tell me he's like won all sorts of awards and his music is played everywhere all the time. Really wonderful composer. So when I had my hand injury, he reached out and said, "Can I write something for you for left hand only?" He said, "I've never written anything for left hand, and I would love the challenge." And I said, "Great. What if we do this? What if the piece actually tells my story of both my injury and my recovery?" And at the time, it was these 3 fingers, 3, 4, and 5 for pianists that were severely injured. So 4 and 5 were 3 a little bit, so mostly 4 and 5. But I had use of 1, 2, and 3. So I said, "Zach, why don't you write the world's first piece for 8 fingers?" So when he wrote this, I was playing using these 3 fingers of my right hand with 5 in my left. This now years later, and I honestly don't remember which fingers played which, so I might be using 10 fingers now, but he really wrote it for 8 fingers. And you will hear it starts very dreamy, beautiful, little dark, and builds up to this enormous crescendo and this big crash, which was my fall, which is what happened to me. And then it's kind of in the clouds, and like my head is so cloudy. Where am I? And then it goes from minor to major, and then ends so beautifully with so much hope and light. And I start to use my right hand more and more towards the end to represent hope and recovery. So enjoy. If you've never heard this, it's so beautiful. I will talk about this in a moment, but it is on my album. Let me hold up this one. It is all of this music actually is on my album Left Hand Lemonade. I'll talk about that in a second. Enjoy this nocturne by Zach Goluboff Davis. And Hive Fasunda. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but welcome. I forgot to add the comments I usually add. Some people can't always find the chat, so what you do is there's a drop in the comments. There's an arrow, and if you click on that, it will switch from comments to chat, and that's how you can post in the chat. If you've never heard that before, isn't it just magical? Just incredible piece. I'm so honored that was written for me. It's so on this Left Hand Lemonade album, I have the Bach Chaconne that I started with. So I made this and recorded this in 2021, I think. Bach Chaconne, a Bach Sicilian I'm not playing today, the Scrub and Prelude and Nocturne, this Nocturne, and the Chopin Alien Harp Etude written, rearranged by Godofsky, that for all left hand, that I played part of in the Chopin concert. I'm not going to play that today. I'm going to end with Gershwin Wild. But so any tips, if you're enjoying this, tips are greatly appreciated, and either through PayPal or through lisaspector.com/tips, which I understand sometimes on mobile it only shows $5, and on desktop, for my mobile, it shows all of them, but for desktop you have lots of choices. But any tip for $10 or over today, I will send you the digital version of this, of Left Hand Lemonade, and for you to enjoy on your device at any time you'd like. And I am going to close with a piece written by my Juilliard, rearranged by my Juilliard professor, Earl Wild. And this is an arrangement of Gershwin's The Man I Love, which Earl Wild rearranged 7 Gershwin tunes, which I've played all of them for 2 hands. And I originally learned the Man I Love for 2 hands, not knowing that he actually wrote the original for left hand only. And it is very challenging. Hopefully it won't sound it, but it is a bear. But it's so gorgeous, so it's worth it. And so honored to to share this. It's just part of my legacy is there were only 4 Earl Wild students when I was at Juilliard, and I was one of them, and he's no longer alive. So if you're familiar with some of my piano ninja tricks, many of them come from Earl Wild. He had all these tricks to make everything easier at the piano. And before I play this, also, if you're not on my email list yet, I'm going to highlight something else. Give me 1 second. Depending on which category you fall into, lots of gifts for you there. So if you have dogs, I have a free PDF download of how to use canine sound therapy with your dog. If you're a pianist, I have Piano Ninja fingering tricks. If you just love classical music, I have something for you there. So you have a choice of what to choose there to get in my world and join my email list, and let me know how I can give you more music as well. So this is a much shorter program than my all Chopin that went like an hour and 20 minutes 2 weeks ago. So this is short piece to end. Very virtuoso. The Man I Love by Gershwin, rearranged by Earl Wild. Hopefully that didn't sound as difficult as it is, but it's pretty challenging, but really also really fun. So thank you so much again for being a part of this. Look for more playlists coming up for you. What I'm working on behind the scenes is I'm actually about to record my All Chopin for Dogs album. It's very calming Chopin. And then next is music to help you focus, along with music for anti-anxiety that you can just listen to on YouTube continuously. So thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday night, and look forward to seeing you. I'm if you're on my email list, you'll be hearing from me what's next. Also, we have actually one other thing before I go is my retreat coming up. This one you're not going to see me so much online because I'm very busy planning for this in-person Beyond the Keys piano retreat and imaginative escape for piano enthusiasts. So it's for adult classical pianist, intermediate to advanced level in Monterey, the beautiful Monterey Peninsula, California. Coming up in about 4 weeks, September 12th through 15th. We have everything, and today's the last day of early bird pricing, and you'll see on the screen, it's lisaspector.com/retreat. We have everything from master classes to Piano Ninja Tricks demos when we're in the music center we're meeting at in downtown Monterey. But also we have, I'm so excited to bring in guests. So we have taiko drumming to help our rhythm. We have sound bath meditations on the beach. We're going to a chamber music concert in my favorite local venue that's a renovated warehouse. It is just the coolest place, and so much more. So if you're a pianist and you're interested in joining us, would love to have you. We still have room. I have room for one more VIP, which includes a private lesson with me and a extra trip on September 16th, a day trip to Big Sur, which is just the most gorgeous coastline you've ever seen. So September 12th or 15th, hope to see you here. And thanks for joining us today. And obviously, hope you're a subscriber on my YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button if you haven't already. And any comments on any of my videos really help engagement as well. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend and your Sunday night. Thanks. Bye-bye.